It's a lazy Saturday afternoon and you get a text from your ex asking, "What you doing?" Since there's nothing else to entertain you, you decide to respond. You tell him you're lounging around, just having a relaxing day. You then get a real shocker. He texts in bold the words, "I love you." This one almost gets you off the couch. You say out loud, "What?" This guy left me, and last I heard, he's dating at least 2 other girls. However, you keep your cool and reply, "That's nice. What happened to the other girls you've been seeing lately?" He replies, "I'm still seeing them, but they're not you. How about dinner tonight at the place only you and I go to?" Your mind immediately turns to that darling restaurant that you each promised years ago that no one else would be allowed into the sanctuary the two of you solely shared. You ask yourself, but how can he love me when he's dating other women? Is he playing games with me? From training with the Stoicess, you know the human mind can be quite complicated. Maybe this is a one-off feeling, and he is playing a game. On the other hand, there may be reasons for his current behavior. First, the thrill of the prior relationship with you may be the best he ever had. Some individuals like to try new things, including dating, simply for that initial thrill that occurs when meeting someone new. However, your thought on the issue is that it takes too much time to weed through these people, for it's a trusted friend you are searching for, and not the thrill of the chase. And you were his trusted friend, which he'd likely never have again. Then, maybe there's that fear of commitment he had, or he wanted to see if he could make you jealous. These reasons don't seem too fit because he was always at your doorstep for advice, and he knows your mind is as strong as steel with no place for jealousy. Or maybe he thought you deserved someone better. He did make mention many times during your relationship that he didn't feel as if he met your standards. Your response was simple. You must, because you're still here. Was compatibility a problem? No, compatibility in your relationship wasn't a problem. You can't remember the time you had an argument. However, you do admit that you overanalyzed any situation to death before making a judgment. So an ensuing argument, if such had occurred because you put your foot down, would have been weeks or months away. By that time, he would have forgotten what the initial debate was about. Maybe he's looking for a situationship, that new concept where your relationship is something more than a friendship, but not total commitment. Well, that won't work for you because that's all you need is another person in your life that acts like a butterfly by landing and leaving a problem with you, for you to work out in your mind for them, while they flutter off to some other adventure. Truth be told, you found these folk typically want to vent and have no real use for the subsequent advice you give them. They are a real nuisance in your book, and you don't waste your mind on them. It could be nostalgia working on him on a lazy weekend afternoon. However, he already knows that tactic won't work with you. He's either in or out in your book. As you work down your list of overanalyzing, you reach the real nugget likely directing his behavior. You gave him a type of love that got under his skin, and he can't shake it. For your love is truly the strangest of all love. You made him into the real man he is today, and he finally figured that out. He knows he will never meet anyone that will build his mind as you did. And honestly, you know he never will either. By the way, a few days after leaving you, you remember him texting you and saying, "I left wishing I had never loved someone like you at all." That was one text you slightly smiled at when receiving, for you knew he was telling you that he found out fairly quickly that you were a real gem indeed. So, after you're overanalyzing, you send him a text saying, "So are you ready to come back to me as a trusted friend?" and we continue our training together as one without interference by others? He responds, "Yes, please." You reply, "Pick me up in an hour." Now, using my Stoic storytelling method, my ex-partner says they still love me but sees other women. How should I handle? Forgive a man who has wronged one. To remain a friend to one who has transgressed friendship. To continue faithful to one who has broken faith. Marcus Aurelius. Keep your heart with all vigilance, for from it flows the springs of life. Book of Proverbs. I will retrain him if he asks for forgiveness. I realize mistakes can be the best teacher to learn a lesson, and I am willing to rebuild a trusted friendship, but much time will be necessary to do so. The character trait I improved was to forgive easily, while knowing that rebuilding our trusted friendship will require tremendous effort and time on both of our parts. Thank you for sharing your mind with me. For your continued success, hear my secret. When they want to have it both ways, let them go freely while you stay mentally unfazed. Now relax, control your mind, and be as you wish to seem, empowered. Remember, it's the situation keeping my connection with him. I'm Maurice Stitt, the Stoicess, your Christian life coach, and I believe in you. If you like what you mentally now see, join my website to learn and think like me at stoicmatchmaker.com.